For being here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being a part of today's Walk and Talk. As always, we're out here. It is currently 5:10. Not sure what the issue is. However, I have been having to, on a regular occasion, restart my lives from the ones that I have already set up. So the ones that I set up in the system to be able to air later, for some reason those continue to error out. However, we're here this morning. We're blessed as always. We're going to continue to walk in faith and in our blessings. And what we're going to cover real quick is the top five reasons why we are we're going to cover the top 5 things that we need to cover. Top 5 habits that need to be in place for 2025 in order for us to grow health, right? In order for us to grow wealth. It's important during this time, while we're doing this process, that we understand that in order for us to reach our goals, in order for us to continue to grow, in order for us to achieve at the level at which we believe we should, we're going to need to be invested. We're going to need to be true to who we say we are. We're going to need to be, without question, we're going to need to be grounded in our faith with an understanding of our purpose and where we're traveling to. If you haven't had the opportunity to yet, guys, as you stop in, please, good morning. How are you doing this morning? Sing, welcome in. Please, as you drop in, guys, take a moment. Go ahead and put down in the chat where you're checking in from, what time it is, where you are. We're going to go over these 5 financial habits, as we always do here on BNV Finance Fixers. We always talk about, we always discuss, and we always share the importance of discipline in achieving any of our goals. And this morning, we're going to talk specifically about growing wealth and the 5 habits that we need to make sure we're taking care of along that process. And what we want to do is make sure we have these 5 habits correct. These 5 simple habits that are going to be an important part of being able to reach our financial goals and grow our wealth. You're in Canada, working as a technician. Thank you for checking in from Canada. What time do you have there? Karen, welcome in from Australia, 7:14. That's PM, correct? 7:14 PM in Australia? Welcome in. It's wonderful to have you here. And we have Meliodas. Nah, I'll just keep on. All right, that's cool. It's 5:15, Sing. All right, so you're on this East Coast. And Lincoln, how are you doing? Good to see you this morning. Thanks for being here. Hey guys, as you stop in, please do me a favor. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up, like button. We would really appreciate it. Now, here's what we're going to do. First thing we're going to cover is Mike, Canada. How are you doing this morning? The first thing, this first mindset that we want to make sure that we're correcting as we are moving throughout the year is going to be very simple. It's going to be the behavior, the mindset of not having a plan. So there needs to be a mindset behind it. Why do we need a plan? Why it's important for us to plan what we're going to do with our finances? Because you have to make sure that you're focusing on where you're going and what it is you're trying to achieve, right? So you can't have a plan. You can't travel to a destination unless you've already started to map that out, right, guys? So we want to work on that. We want to make sure that the first thing we do is make sure we develop a plan, right? Make sure that we have an understanding of what it is we're trying to achieve. If we do not have an understanding of what it is we're trying to achieve, we're going to find ourselves just doing things, right? What's the problem with just doing things? Well, we can do things, they won't necessarily be going towards our ultimate goal. And this can happen in a lot of areas in life. But you really don't want to have this happening to your wealth. You don't want to have this happening when you're building wealth. And the reason you don't want to do it is because you'll start to see your money go in directions that you haven't planned for it to because you don't have a plan, right? You'll start to see that the money, when you if you don't have a specific plan on what to save, on what to spend, if you're not intentional about what you do with what comes under your care, then you will put yourself in a position where that will not be handled correctly. And if you're not handling it correctly, you're setting it up to be removed from you, either by you losing it, by someone else taking over it, or being assigned to someone else. So here's the thing, we can create that plan. It's not hard to do. One of the things that you're going to have to do in order to create the plan is simply make decisions. We're not talking about developing a full financial plan in order for you to know how many stocks to buy and when to change over and how to move the money into a REIT and the difference between investing in foreign currency and crypto. No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a simple plan. One of the first things you have to do is you have to plan. You have to set up a budget. You have to know, this is how my money is coming in. This is what the plan is to do with it. And then to start to follow that process. Once you have a plan can have discipline implemented. When you have the ability to add discipline to anything that you're doing, you're going to exponentially increase the potential of that outcome. Okay, guys? Now, what we want to do is make sure this second thing is going to be very important. They're building over here. What we're going to do is make sure after that we're continuing to grow, right? We want to make sure we're spending time on moving into the second area. Now, the second area for us, guys, is going to be fairly simple. But the first area is what helps us with it. The second area is poor habits. All right, so what are poor habits? Well, poor habits don't mean that the habits themselves are poor in the way that they are and the way they are delivered. It means that they are habits that contribute to an expenditure or a loss of, finances or income, because we are not considering what we're doing with it. Because we don't have a plan, we can now develop poor habits. And it's a really easy thing to happen to us, guys. And Terry, you prepare for the impending economic collapse the same way you prepare for the impending boom that's coming. You make a plan for your finances. You start to manage your money. You start to manage your money correctly. You make sure that the money that you have that come into your life is not being spent frivolously, right? So you should always have this. The same principles for a recession are the same principles that you want to have in your development for being into a boom, right? So the elements, the work is again, and we're talking about this right now. One, you should always have a plan, right? You should have a plan as to where your money is going, what you're doing with it, what you're putting into savings, what you're putting into investments, how much you're spending on your bills, reducing your cost. That's the first thing. You can't live higher than money that you make, right? Stop living on credit. Once we establish and understand that we have the ability to control how we spend our money, then we will do so. So when we control how and what we spend our money on, we can then change our view of what's happening. We can change our view of whether or not we're in the crosshairs of an impending recession, because those things are outside of us. What we do control is ourselves. What we do control is our ability to be able to take action and do the things that are going to be beneficial to our development and our growth. And that's why you have to, one, make sure you have a plan. Two, you have to get rid of poor habits, right? Because what you learn, right? What you learn and what you do is what you repeat. Nico, welcome in. Great to see you again too, man. How you doing? Always grinding, Nico. Only life I know. All my life. Me and Nipsey, man. So thanks for dropping back in. So what are we saying, guys? So what are we looking at here? Well, one, you need to make sure that you have a plan. If you do not have a plan, it is holding you back. You must have a plan for your money, right? Second, You have to make sure you're breaking poor habits. Poor habits are habits that are developed, or habits that are in place to keep people poor. When you spend your money on things, right? When your money is gone before you get it, then those are poor habits. If you have plans for your money, and the biggest way to know whether or not you have, you're living off of borrowed money, or you're living off of money you haven't gotten yet, is credit. So if we're finding ourselves constantly growing our credit cards, growing our debt, this is why when people say, hey, a house is the best investment that you're gonna make. How are you doing, Suman? Welcome in. When people say, hey, you have to get yourself a house is the best thing that you can do, a house is the biggest investment you're gonna make in your life, you have to start to look at the world as changed. The world isn't what the world used to be. You used to be able to buy a house as a regular, hard-working citizen. You used to be able to go out, work, buy a house plan, buy land, actually pay it off in that 30-year period, and then have something to set as a legacy to pass on to your family, to pass on to the next generation, or to hold into yourself, or to use, or to sell and get more, to use it. What I'm telling you is times have changed. Times has changed. So when you're talking about buying a personal property, right? When you're talking about buying a personal property, you have people who are working jobs who go in and you take a look, hey, I want to buy a house because this is my family's future. And they say, okay, the house is listed at $546,000. You're like, man, that's not bad. For this much house, I'm gonna get myself 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. I'm gonna have an unfinished basement. I can really do something with this. And then you go through the process of going through the loan, looking at the interest, and you see by the time you finish paying this house off, you will have paid over $1.5 million. You're like, that's 3 times the cost of the house. I'm paying for insurance to pay for the house in case I can't pay for it, but it's not for me, it's for the loan. So when you get private mortgage insurance doesn't pay you if you can't pay your loan. It pays off your loan, and then you're still responsible for that debt. These are the things that we have to look into. These are the things that were not a part of early home buying. These are the things that we have to understand. So many of us are buying houses now in HOAs that all you own is a right to use that space. That's not truly your property. So if you're buying a house in an HOA and that's your investment, what are we running into in those situations? When we purchase a home in an HOA, the land doesn't belong to us. We have to listen to other people about how to use it and when to use it. We can't just dig it up. We can't, because it doesn't really belong to us. So all we're doing is holding a spot. We're marking territory for someone else to use later. Sing, it's so easy to be rich in the West. I don't know why they are poor and homeless people, US, Canada, and Australia. We're trying not to be judgmental, but I don't have a problem with touching on that. It is easy, right? But the challenges are the same everywhere in the world. There is a lot of ease to be able to survive in a lot of different places in the world, but it requires discipline. Whenever we talk about getting something done, it's only easy in as much as it can be done, but it does take work. They're not just handing out houses. They're not just handing out $500,000 paychecks. They're not just handing out everything. It takes work, but based on where you're from, based on your background, based on the knowledge that you have, based on what you know, you have to figure out what that work is, and you have to develop a process. And that's what we're talking about this morning, are the 5 habits that have to be broken in order for you to be able to truly start building generational wealth in 2025. And the first one is a plan. If you don't have a plan, if you have no plan for yourself and your money, you are already off course. You need to have a plan. There has to be something you're trying to do. Second thing is poor habits. If you don't have a plan, it's a guarantee you have poor habits. You have spending habits, and you have a way of living that is contributing to you not building the finances and the income that you're looking for. And it happens because we are not paying close attention to what we're doing, and we're allowing for our habits to they go untended. And so they're not even habits, they're just actions that we take that become poor habits, right? All right, Robert, where are you located, brother? Great knowledge. I'm located on the East Coast of the United States. I'm in the DMV. My wife and my 7 children and I, we've been in this area for a long time. The information for contacting me is in the bio. Feel free to drop in the information. I love to connect and share. Morning, Daniel, how are you doing? Good morning, baby birds. Thank you for being here. Terry says, it's well understood there's an economic downturn every 4 to 7 years. The last one was 2020. So we are due. What if it's worse than the one in 2008? So what? Like, that's the thing, is what if it is? What happened? What did you do in 2008? What did you do in 2009? What did you do in 2010? Right? So what we're looking at is it's 2025, and you're looking at the fact that things may take a downturn. Things may go into a recession, and we may be in a difficult space. Well, guess what? Everybody makes money in every economy, right? Doesn't matter what the economic situation is, you have to be able to make a plan. You have to understand how to get rid of your poor habits. Number 3, you have to have accountability. And I think this is the biggest thing. And I'm telling you, this is what's important, is that these are specific things that you can control. We have to stop looking out and waiting for someone else to show us, or waiting for someone else to save us and prevent things from going in any given direction. When we can control what we do, we can control in what space we are involved, and we can control what our future will be. When we have an opportunity to take control of our finances, how we earn, what we do, how we work on ourselves, right? That's going to be a major part. If you lack accountability, people, if you're not going to be accountable for the money, for what's coming into your life, then you're just going to fail, right? If you don't have the accountability to be able to say, hey, this is on me, then you're not going to achieve in the level in which you're expecting to. You're not going to reach the goals that you're looking for. But I'm telling you that it's possible. And it's possible because we always talk about here self-awareness and self-accountability. So what do we need to be aware of? You need to be aware of your money. We're looking outside of us. You're looking at the economy and the impending downturn. Well, are you getting ready? Have you got prepared for it? You learned how to drive. Did you learn how to handle your money? They wouldn't give you a driver's license until you took a test and you were verified by the state. You were verified by the motor vehicle department that it's okay for you to go on the road because you're now not a danger to yourself or to anyone else. But they didn't do that before they gave you a paycheck. They didn't do that before they let you go out and let people go out and start having children, right? So if the government's going to hold you accountable, if they're going to hold you accountable for being able to drive, they're going to require certain things of you to be able to get a loan. What are we going to require of ourselves? What is our accountability to ourselves? So we have to be accountable. And it's not just that we have to be, but it's that we can be. We have the ability to be accountable. We have the ability to take a look at our lives, take a look at what we're doing, take a look at all the ways in which we are trying to improve and to grow. And we can take a look at all of those things and we can choose to say, hey, it's on me to be this. It's on me to get it done. I have to be accountable. But the only way to be accountable is to be self-aware, people. You cannot be self-aware if you are not taking the time to sit down and look at what it is you're doing. That's the plan, right? That's the plan. You cannot be self-aware if you're not taking the time to sit down and make a plan. When you make that plan is going to mark out, it's going to map out, it's going to identify those poor habits. And when you identify those poor habits, you can start to eradicate them because you remove them from the plan. If they're not a part of the plan and they're things that shouldn't be done, and we're not just talking about finances, we're talking about in the way we're living our lives in general. So we remove poor habits. Then the next thing that we want to do after we remove those poor habits, and number 3, we want to make sure that we're accountable. We're accountable. We're holding ourselves accountable to this standard that we set for ourselves. And when we hold ourselves accountable to the standard that we've created for ourselves, this is going to lead us to number 4, people. Number 4 is emotional spending. Emotional spending is something that we have to control. Why do we have to control emotional spending? Because it's the same thing as emotional eating. We do it when we feel good, we eat to celebrate, and we eat because we feel bad. We eat to get over pain, we consume. It's the same thing with our finances. We have emotional spending. I had a breakthrough, got my tax return, I'm getting a new TV. My football team made it to the Super Bowl, I'm getting a new TV. My favorite team is doing well, I'm buying jerseys. Emotional spending, right? If it's not a part of our plan, it's not a part of our budget, these are all discretionary purchases. And I'm not telling you don't enjoy your life. I'm not telling you you can't have fun. I'm not telling you, hey, you need to hold all your money and stick it in your mattress. That's not what I'm saying to you. I am saying, however, be mindful of when we do emotional spending, because if we don't have a plan, we don't know where our money is going. If we have a plan, we literally have the ability to set money aside for the things that are important for us to spend money on while still growing our generational wealth, growing our wealth in the moment, growing our wealth right now. That is copping merchandise, bruh. It is copping merchandise. But here's the question that we have to have for you. If you've copped merchandise, right? If you went out and you put a $150 jersey on your back, right? You went out and you put, I don't know, how much are TVs nowadays? 700, 800 bucks, 1,200 bucks, whatever it is. You got a $150 jersey. You got yourself, let's say, an $800 TV. So now we at $950, right? Doesn't matter if you paid cash or you paid credit. That's $950. If you paid credit, it's going to be a lot more if you're not paying it off within the next billing cycle, because the interest is going to hit. So now it's not $950, it's $988, right? So we're not just talking about copying. I'm talking about the ability to be able to live the life that you want to live, to be able to purchase the things that you want to purchase, but having the understanding they need to fit within your plan. Don't drop $1,500 on something that you could put $1,500 into an investment that's going to come back to you later, that's going to return to you. Your favorite team is not sending you anything from them winning the Super Bowl. They're not sending you anything from the championship. They're not sending us out. Like, if you want to invest $1,500, a lot of these teams are public. If your team is doing well, or you expect your team to do well in the future, buy into the team. Invest $1,500 into the team. You invest enough money in the team, then they'll start giving you merch. They'll start giving you jerseys. They'll start giving you seats, start giving you hats. They'll start giving you a reason to celebrate when they celebrate. Because as they grow, as they get better, so do you. So this is why it's going to be important, guys. It's going to be important for us to understand the areas that we're working in. It's going to be important for us to understand the habits that need to be broken, right? And so we've run down them, guys. We've run these down, right? The first thing that we've run down is that we have to make sure that we're starting by getting ourselves, step number 1, into a plan, right? Top 5 things. Thing number 1, we need a plan. The reason we need a plan is so that we can break out of a poor mindset. That's number 2. Number 2 is making sure that we're breaking free of a poor mindset. Number 3 is being accountable to ourselves for the things that we have already put in our plan and we said we're going to do. 4, we have to reduce and eliminate emotional spending, making sure that we're not going out and making expenditures simply because we're in an emotional state. And then the 5th thing, and this is going to be very important, and emotional spending doesn't just apply to discretionary purchases of comping merch. You can do emotional spending in your business. Oh, this isn't going the way I thought it should. But versus you thinking, hey, maybe we need to work on this product, maybe we need to work on this service, maybe we need to do a better job of introducing this to the community so that they understand it better, versus you spending time on working on the product, you say, well, let me spend $1,500 on advertisement. Let me spend $2,500 on trying to get somebody else to make the font look better or to brand it. We have to be careful. Now, I believe any money you invest towards your goal or your business to grow it is going to be better than money that's just thrown away that you'll never see the return from. But we still have to stop doing it emotionally. We have to remove ourselves from that emotional state and understand the benefit and the value of it. Number 5, the 5th thing that's going to be very important for us to understand, guys. And this is the toughest one that I had to deal with. I recall it. I remember dealing with it. I remember asking the same questions. What do I do with an impending recession? How do I act? How do I act or how do I respond when I have bills that are coming in and I don't have enough money coming in to meet these payments? Where am I going to go from here? What is my future going to look like? What is it going to look like for my children? What do I do when I have to make a choice because I didn't have any of those things in place? You can't put any of those things in place if you have a scarcity mindset. If you have a mindset, and that's number 5, is you must eliminate the scarcity mindset. You must eliminate the things that tell you that, hey, well, I can't do it, or it can't be done, or I haven't seen anyone do it, or most people do this, or I'm being held down. It's the scarcity mindset. It's the mindset that there's only as much out there available to you as you think is available to you. Ryan, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Oh my goodness, 11:37 p.m. Welcome in, thank you for being here. Guys, what I'm trying to share with you, these 5 things, if we fix these 5 things, if we take control of these 5 habits and we change them and we put them into place for this year, we put them into place, you're gonna start to see, I'm talking about immediately when you do this and you, 1, put together a plan for your life, a plan for your money. 2, you stop your poor habits. You stop living like poor. You stop living to use your money to pay for things. You stop using your money to buy things. 3, when you move away from that, you take accountability for your plan and the things that you said you would do, right? Now, after we take that accountability, 4, we have to eliminate emotional spending because we've broken the poor mindset, and emotional spending is when we start to see money build up and we're like, I need to do something with it. It's burning a hole in my pocket. And then 5, we have to eliminate the scarcity mindset. We must eliminate this mindset that tells us that it's not possible for me. There's no way to do it with my job. My job doesn't pay me enough. You don't understand what my situation is. You don't know how hard it is. It's this mindset that what we're looking to achieve cannot be achieved because we haven't seen it or we haven't done it. The focus needs to be on working on ourselves. These 5 things are things that we do on ourselves. These 5 things are development that we do for us, so that as we develop ourselves in these areas, we grow our talent in that area, we grow our ability, and we're better capable of managing our finances and reaching the goals and achieving the goals that we have within our plan, people. This is what I'm trying to tell you. If we break these 5 habits, if you break these 5 habits and you set them up as new, you prepare yourself, I'm telling you in 2025, even within the midst of an impending recession, you're going to see a change to your life and you're going to start to see growth in your wealth. This is not just talk. This is not just suggestions. These are things that I've done and I've seen the improvement and I've seen the growth. I've seen the ability for my wife and I to grow multiple businesses at the same time. I've seen the ability to change the aspects of behavior and return in my household because I'm investing in myself and in turn investing in my children, investing time in my family, and I'm seeing a growth of wealth in that space at all. It is not all about just making money. It's not all about just getting a bigger paycheck. It's not all about just getting a bigger bonus. It's about being involved, making a plan, eliminating these things that are preventing us from growing. And specifically this month, we're talking about wealth, but applies to all areas of the life. How are you doing? Good to see you, Michael. Apex, what's going on? A few days ago. You can talk to me, man. Hey, tell you what, check my information out in my bio. Go ahead and send me some information and we'll take a look and see what we can get put together, right? And so, hey, this is what's going to be important. Terry says the price of gold has doubled over the last 5 years. What does that mean? That means that you should have invested in gold 5 years ago, but if you didn't, invest now. Like these, when we look at things and we look at things that are of value and things that the future has the things that the past has shown us about the things that are going to happen in the future, it's all about us taking action. I mean, the reason this channel focuses on discipline and behavior. Amir, how are you doing? The reason we focus on discipline, the reason we focus on behaviors, the reason we focus on self-accountability and self-awareness, the reason we talk about mindset and growth is because all of these things that need to be done that we're asking questions about are not difficult things, right? People put a lot of words around them to make them sound difficult, but they're really not. KBC, thank you. How are you doing? Welcome. Thank you for being in here. Right? So what I'm trying to tell you is, when we start looking at the things that are necessary in order for us to be able to achieve, in order for us to reach any goal, in order for us to be able to grow, these things are the same, right? So what I'm sharing, what I'm telling you, what I'm trying to get us all to be able to focus on and be able to see is that this journey that we're on, this plan that we have, this path that we're traveling on, our purpose is going to require for us to work on ourselves. And when we do work on ourselves, our preparation of ourselves when it meets the opportunity for us to be able to be highly successful, we're going to be so. We're going to be highly successful, and we're going to demonstrate the behaviors necessary to grow that wealth and continue to grow our family. Kimberly Bird, how are you doing? Thank you very much. So, guys, I want to appreciate you for being here. Thank you so much for stopping in. And remember, we covered it. It's the top 5 habits that we need to break. If you have these habits in place, even if it's just one of them, guys, we need to take a look at breaking these habits. We need to take a look at making the changes so that we don't have these issues in the future. And the way that we do that, guys, the way that we're going to do that and the way we're going to get it done is remembering to break these 5 habits, start to grow, and move into our blessings in the upcoming years. It's always great to see you guys. Please stop past the channel, take a look. You can also download in the bio the free 2DS. It's 5 steps on being able to set up discipline in your life and apply it to any area. It's free for you guys. Thank you again for being here. God bless.